Switching the tone a little bit today. No pun intended. It's your boy Tonka 8 Tech. Back in the video. If I get to a glory to God, if I got to right now, God's with doors and pay with hope the Lord's and prevent today's video. I am back with a Washington Commanders video, but this is a different type of video. I'll be doing a reaction video to another content creator. Shout out to Real Robinson 91. Shout out to Real Robinson, man. I think him, Louis T, Ed Oliver, and Street Scores are the best we got in our community. I respect these guys. I admire their work ethic. The Commanders Kings, they do a great job of representing our community well. And I thank God that we got guys like that in our community, man. They bring our community together. I think we have the best YouTube community on YouTube because the NFL. Don't at me. I don't care what nobody says. Shout out to Janky Rondo too, but this is my guy, man. Shout out to Rio. Reaction video to his interview with Jeremy Fowler about the Terry McLaurin situation. I didn't get Jeremy Fowler on my channel, so I like the second best thing was to react to a guy like this. So let's talk. Let's talk about it.
What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today's guest, national writer for ESPN and NFL insider Jeremy Fowler, is going to break down the latest in the Terry McLaurin contract saga with the team. How are you doing today, Jeremy?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you for taking some time out of your afternoon to talk some ball with me. So, Washington fans, this is creating hostility and division amongst the fan base. It's either Team Adam Peters or Team Terry McLaurin. This situation, is it as tricky as it sounds?
It is, yes. This is a situation where the team and the player have different interpretations of the wide receiver market and what they're willing to do. And that gulf has been pretty wide, as opposed to some other situations where maybe it's a little closer and they're just going to haggle over details. This seems to be, at least from what I've gathered, more of a fundamental difference or belief in how this should go. So because of that, you're looking at a pretty big gap. I think Washington is willing to give him a raise from where he is, but not up into the money and the stratosphere that we've seen these bigger receiver contracts, where Terry can say, hey, you could probably argue Terry McLaurin's a better player than DK Metcalf, and DK Metcalf got $32 million. So it's a very hard discussion, and the way the market has gone with other players has sort of complicated the situation.
Very tricky because DK and Terry come from the same 2019 draft class, but Terry came in significantly older. So Terry's going into age 30 season, and DK's still 27. But the production's there. He's coming off a season where he set the franchise record for touchdowns in a season, and everyone knows what he means off the field to the team as well. So on Terry's side, he believes he should get paid for what he did last year and some of what he did before Adam Peters and company got there. And on AP's side, a receiver's never garnered a contract of $30 million or more going into an age 30 season, right?
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but the age and the third contract is the issue here. I think that the Commanders look at that as something that should warrant more of a reasonable price, at least in their mind, and yes, at a position like receiver where it's about explosion and it's about keeping your legs fresh, that age 30 threshold can be important, as opposed to maybe some other positions where guys won't slow down as quickly. I think of Cam Hayward, defensive tackle in Pittsburgh, once
That's a good point. Wide receivers need the explosion and speed and high catch radiuses and all that. So maybe at 30, that might start to slow down. But Terry isn't showing any signs of slowing down per se. But neither did Amari Cooper. Neither did Nuke Hopkins. Neither did these other guys. But they don't have the tread. They don't have the NFL tread that those guys have on their tires. Even Tyreek Hill, he slowed down a little bit. But I think that was also the quarterback play. But it's tough, man. It's a tough situation here. And I get what Jeremy's saying as well. And I get what Rio's saying. If you team Adam Peters and team Terry McLaurin, I'm team neutral here when it comes to that. I don't really think that if you're team Terry, I want Terry to get paid. I also want the team to do right by themselves as well. I don't want the team to just give Terry what he wants because he's Terry. Like that's a bunch of de activity. I'm not with that. I'm sorry. That's a bunch of glizzy goblin. I'm not with that. You know what I'm saying? But I do want Terry to be paid fair. I think $30 million per season is a fair price. I think 25 is fair. I think 29 is fair. 25 is sort of disrespectful. That was the offer. But 33, I can't. Look at the age of these guys. The only guy over 30 is Tyreek Hill. All these other guys are 25, 26, 26, 27, 25, 28, 25, 27, 26. I was at least 3 years younger than Terry. Outside of A.J. Brown, who's 2 years younger than Terry. A.J. Brown's a 15-year guard on this docket. Terry don't have that. A.J. Brown made Jalen Hurts to a decent quarterback, to a borderline top 10 quarterback. In most cases, he's the top 10 quarterback in the league. A.J. Brown transformed Jalen Hurts' game. Let's stop it, bro.
Work contract. He's 35 and was just an all-pro. Not that McLaurin can't do that. It's just harder to do. So it's you also have to remember where Adam Peters, the GM, comes from. He came from San Francisco, where they have been unafraid to tackle difficult contract situations and let it get ugly and play out and have guys hold out, all those things. So he seems like an unmovable force in that way. And so that's why I just don't see a clear path in something getting done just yet. I think both sides are going to have to be a little more uncomfortable for a while. But I do ultimately think it gets done somewhere. You have too much momentum going on. You already have a lot on Jaden Daniels' shoulders. To ask him to carry the offense without Terry is a big one.
Even with the acquisition of Deebo Samuel, you don't want to have to ask Deebo Samuel to be wide receiver 1 and put that pressure on him as well. But so when they say framework or metrics from DK's contract, is it the average annual or is it the guarantees?
Well, I think it's both. In this case, I think it's all the above. But a lot of times the guarantees are the sticking point. Where with Trey Hendrickson, for example,
I look different.
Both sides in Cincinnati are comfortable with the money they're offering. It's just whether they guarantee enough for his liking. So that to me is a more progressed situation than McLaurin's. I don't even think they've been in that ballpark of getting close and you just have to hammer out guaranteed money. I think they're apart in per year average and everything else. And so Terry, at least you've kind of cut out the holdout money, right? You're taking $50,000 fines per day. Now that's over. And you don't really have to play right now if you don't want. You can make this more uncomfortable. You're visible and in the building, which makes this a talking point for the media. And the offense needs you. So, I think if you're him, you're hoping all of those factors apply a little bit of pressure to make Washington move a little bit. But so far, they have not been willing to do that.
And he used, I guess, his biggest last piece of leverage by requesting a trade. From me, as a Washington fan, I see the trade request as just a part of negotiating a contract.
That's bad if Trey Henderson's contract details are ahead of Terry McLaurin's. That's a bad look on Adam Peters. That's a really bad look. Adam, that's not a good look, man. That's not a good look. Trey Henderson was in another freaking state. How in the hell is he in another freaking state holding out, bro? And his contract situation is more etched out than Terry's. That's ridiculous. They don't cut it out and get a deal done. Golly, bro.
Is he actually willing to see a future elsewhere, or is this just a part of the process of locking in the contract to stay here in DC?
Well, it's multi-layered, right? Like if you're McLaurin, at this point, if you were to be traded, assuming you're getting a new deal out of it, he would welcome that,
Okay.
If you put him in some truth serum and say, hey, do you want to be in Washington, all things equal? I assume he would still want to be in Washington. Yeah. So the trade requests are becoming more part of the negotiation than an actual request in a general sense, because you see a lot of these players making them and they don't get traded.
I agree with that now. This is the first time with this conversation when he's having with Jeremy Fowler. This is the first time I can see Terry McLaurin not be a Commander. If some team wanted to give him $33.5, $34 million a season, they would trade for him. I know the Steelers called. I know other teams have probably called as well. If a team willing to pay what Terry thinks he deserves, move him. Just go ahead and do it. If you're not willing to pay it, just move. Just move. Like just get it over with. Like we need a resolution to this. Like I want something done. Like just get it over with. Like, either pay him, find a middle ground, or move him. Let's just stop the cap. Let's stop the BS. Let's get something done.
They're sort of either stuck where they are or they work out a new deal with their team. You know, in this case, I do think the relationship has been fractured some. And
Adam Peters. I love you, Adam Peters. I think you're one of the best general managers in football. This is a really bad look. The relationship is fractured a bit. It makes sense. That's tough.
I was told all along that Terry was willing to do whatever it takes to make this right in his mind, which is now requesting that trade. I guess you could call that the nuclear option. And he took it, and I was being told that he would continue to do that until all pressure is applied. So it does appear that he's done all that there and done all he can. The only next step would be to just totally withhold services on game checks, and that's a big step. Maybe Washington would put him on some sort of reserve list and let him collect his paychecks while he sits, but that's a whole different conversation.
How much trade interest has he garnered league-wide since the trade request, or in general this offseason?
I'm trying to find that out for sure, but I was told that there's been a team that's looked into it that is, I guess you could say, pursued McLaurin via Washington, and my understanding is Washington still doesn't want to trade him, so I do think they're rebuffing any offers right now. I don't sense that they want to move on from him. Now, if there was a huge contract offer / multiple first-round picks or some huge package, I think Washington would look into it, but right now that's just not the reality. And I don't know how much a team would be willing to offer as far as draft pick compensation when you have to turn around and pay him the money that you do have to pay him. So it makes that complicated. There's just not as big of an appetite for these massive trades for veterans right now because of the ballooning salaries.
Yep. And with the quarterback that we currently have, Jaden Daniels, going into year 2, it's paramount that Washington has Terry on the field this year and for the next couple of years of this rookie contract. Part of this could possibly be they're trying to write a contract to Terry that gets his wide receiver 1 money off the books when it's time to write Jaden, possibly the biggest contract the league has ever seen. Could that be playing a factor as well?
Well, I do think you're onto something there. Yeah, I mean, they have to budget for that. These deals tend to get done earlier and earlier, so Daniels will be eligible for a new deal in 2 years. And at that point, they will most likely have that discussion. I don't think there's any doubt. You're going to want to try to get ahead of a deal like that as opposed to wait. So the short answer is yes, I do think you're onto something there.
I've seen you mention the DK thing and that they could be $7 to $8 million apart. So we're talking Washington starting offer maybe around the $24-25 million range for Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, when I mentioned that earlier in the show, I was partly doing some math, but what I do know is that originally Washington was only willing to acknowledge a slight increase from where he currently was. So if he was at 23, let's ballpark that at 25. DK Metcalf is at 32. There's your 7. Okay. When I ran that by somebody in the know, I was told that sounds about right. So I do think the gulf is sort of in that range, and that's an issue. That's a big gap. So I don't know how they're going to close it. They would both have to relent and make concessions. And right now, that has not been the case yet.
Yes.
According to Jeremy Fowler, this sounds bad. This don't sound good. It sounds really bad. It's like it's time to trade him. It's what it sounds like. I'm not gonna lie. It sounds like it's time to trade Terry McLaurin. It's time. Just move him. Let's stop playing games. Like I don't get what's going on. Like you want to pay him 25, he wants to pay 33. We can't find a happy medium at 30. We can't find me at 29.5. We can't do 28.5. We can't do 30 million and 500,000. What's going on? Now I'm looking at the team sideways a little bit. What is going on? I get Cortland Sutton is getting 23 per on the extension. I get that. I get that Mike Evans is getting 26.5 on extension. Terry's around the same age as Sutton and a year younger than Mike Evans. I get that. I'm not disagreeing with that. But, bro, we need Terry McLaurin. If you don't want to pay the money, find a trade partner who's willing to do it, and let's get it over with. Why are we playing games here? I know Terry don't have a ton of leverage. I get that. I get that you have the leverage here. But Terry's leverage is increasing the more that we see Jaden Daniels not have a red zone target. I know we got Zach Ertz. I know Jalen Lane can have an outstanding rookie season. I love what Debo has done this offseason. But we need Terry. If we want to win a Super Bowl, if you want to make another conference championship, we need Terry McLaurin. We cannot be playing games with this. Figure out a solution, and let's get it over with. Have him on his roster, trade him. Pick one, and let's get it over with. Let's stop pussyfooting around. Let's stop playing games. Let's get something done. Either pay him something in the middle between what you're offering and what he wants. Offer something down the middle. All right, he wants 33. You're offering 25. 29.5 is my final offer. If he says no to that, then trade him. Period. 29.5, 65 guaranteed. If you don't want that, I'm moving. This is my final offer. Give him a final offer. He doesn't want to take it. If him and Buddy Baker don't want it, find a trade partner. Let's get something done. We take it too long, bro.
Seems like they're at a standstill. And as a fan, we keep drafting up these ways for them to split the difference. Like, could they make it work at 28.5, 29 million? Is there a compromise, or is Adam Peters going to have to make the full bend and get to at least 30 million to get this done before the season starts?
I think both sides are going to have to find a way to get a win in order for this to work, where maybe Terry wants a 3 in front of his per year average, right? Okay. He wants 30 or more, but then Washington's going to have to find something they're comfortable with. If they give that up, then maybe they have less guarantees on the back end, or, they can save money in the signing bonus, whatever it is. But both sides are going to have to find a concession. Nobody's going to be able to get a major victory out of this thing if they're going to come to a deal.
The major victory ultimately is them just getting a deal done and keeping the core nucleus together around Jaden Daniels so they could compete with a title window opening up as early as this season. Just to close this one out, what is your prediction? Does this get settled this offseason, and what would your timetable be to when you think a deal could get completed?
All it takes is a few phone calls, so I'll never take it off the table to get done this month.
This is ridiculous. I hope something does get done. This ain't a good look. But that was my reaction video to Rio Robinson's interview with Jeremy Fowler. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I had to give some of my commentary and get a little more in depth with it because I can't just watch the video. If I just watch the video, that means I can get copyright infringed. So, shout out to Rio. Great interview with Jeremy Fowler. Very appreciate his commentary and his thoughts on the Terry McLaurin situation, but it's looking bad. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.